Empathy is a concept that all of us are hopefully familiar with, but today we are going to talk about empathy from the concept of a therapist. What is the emotional boundary that a therapist should draw to preserve their own sanity while talking with their client? With me is Miss Kareena. Could you briefly introduce yourself, please?
Yeah. Hi, so I'm Kareena Arora, and I've completed my master's in clinical psychology, and I've worked with a wide range age group, starting from 6-year-old to, let's say, 55-year-old. I've worked in various setups, hospitals, schools, BMC schools. I've also worked with various people from financial backgrounds. I think I have a good experience with that. And right now, I'm currently running my own private practice called as the Kare Connect, where my main goal is to make therapy accessible to everybody. So
Mhm.
we provide online therapy and at a very reasonable cost. And we also offer a sliding scale in case somebody really wants therapy but cannot, fit into their financial budget. So we tend to do that as well.
Right.
So I think that's a little bit about me.
Okay. So, suppose I'm coming to you for therapy. I'm the client, and I have bouts of emotional reactions. Okay, how would
Hmm.
you maintain that space between me and you that you do not get affected by those emotions while at the
Hmm.
same time giving unconditional regard to the client?
Okay. So, when you say unconditional regard, I'm a humanistic therapist, and I think that is the one thing that we follow is unconditional positive regard. But coming back, there was this one mentor that I had, and he taught us all to have like a switch on and off button. So I think everybody in any medical field for that matter should have like a switch on and off button. So for me personally is practice what you preach, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
always tend to help my clients with a lot of breathing exercises, a lot of mindfulness techniques, and I do tend to follow that as well. So what I do is when I sit for my day, for my sessions, I always start off with like a breathing exercise. So it's like my brain knows that I
Mm-hmm.
have to be empathetic, but at the same time, I don't have to drown in my client's feelings
Mm-hmm.
and their emotions because I personally know the difference between what me as a therapist is and me as a person is, right? And at the end of the day, when I'm done with my last session, again, I sit down with my emotions for 10-15 minutes. First, I also tend to, as a therapist, I also tend to process emotions for other people. I make a note of things, and then again, my switch off button is breathing exercises.
Mm-hmm.
When I know that, my breathing exercise is complete, I know I'm done for the day. From now onwards, I can't think about my client, like not about their emotions. Obviously, as a therapist, you will be reminded. So let's say one of my clients loves sunset, and if I see a sunset, I'm always going to be reminded of that client. But I'm not drowning in their emotions. So that
Mm-hmm.
switch on and off button for me personally is very necessary. And I think all these therapists do tend to follow some sort of disconnect from their work, which is very essential as well.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So if you come to me, obviously, first thing in initial sessions, I give you the space to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes silence is the best answer. If I have a lot of silence, you're going to fill these gaps in by talking more about yourself. And you try to fill the gaps in. And I give you the space to listen. I
Mm-hmm.
make you feel heard. And then I give you the space to open up about your emotions as well.
Right. So, do you think that there should be a golden point of duration between sessions so that the therapist can cope up with or process what the session has been about?
Correct. So for me, I tend to take a session for about 45 to 50 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and I tend to take an half an hour gap in between. Now, again, it depends from therapist to therapist. I can only speak for myself. So in those 30 minutes, so after I'm done with like 45 minutes of session, the 15 minutes I make sure to complete. Because just because I've heard the session right now, it's quite easy for me to make notes of things
Mm-hmm.
that is like just happened, right? Because if I delay it, I'm also human, so I'm gonna forget a few things which might be essential for the client's growth as well. So I tend to make notes of that, and then 15 minutes I just sit with myself, and I try to like not absorb their emotions. So I'm not leading one client's problems onto others. So I think it's very essential to have that gap in between also, because everybody is going through a different set of problems. Even if
mm,
you are going through something emotionally, and let's say
mm,
my other client is going through something
mm,
emotionally, both of you might have family problems,
mm,
but those family problems and the experience for both of you is always going to be different.
mm.
So to take that gap in between, to sit with your thoughts and then to cite those thoughts and then move on to the other client is very essential, is something that I believe.
Right. It's a good point. So, what should be the boundary that a therapist should align themselves with?
Boundaries, I think boundary is a very wide term. A lot of boundaries. Now, personally, I follow, I believe that self-disclosure is essential, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to share about your life, but don't, if a client comes to you and they're sharing something and you have something to share, you can't just start. That I also went through the same thing. So obviously give them the space. What I tend to do is personally that I tell them that, I have something that I went through.
Mm,
Do you want me to share? But at the same time, I should be able to see the client. If client is somebody who's gonna take my experience as their decision making, then I wouldn't share. If
mm,
I know that they have the space to listen, just to listen and understand why I did what I did, then only I express. So that is one boundary setting, that sometimes you have to know how much to self
mm,
disclose. That is one. Then obviously you need to have your own personal life as well.
yeah,
So that is it. So I always keep like a when I send my consent form, I always keep a window of 24 hours, because
mm,
my response time should be 24 hours. I'm not a crisis responder. I'm still a
mm,
therapist. So I always make it clear that in case you're in crisis, these are the helpline numbers. And if you wish to reach out to me, I will take anywhere between 24 hours. It could be within 15 minutes also. It could be the next day also.
mm,
So it's clear that I've set my boundaries with all of my
right.
clients, and they know that this is going to happen. So I think 24-hour window is a fair window for everybody, because again, speaking about the same, at the end of the day, we are also humans, right? We also have our
Mm,
own personal life. So that is that. And then obviously the most important thing is, don't drown into somebody else's pain. The sharing, and see, when a client shares something with you and you are not emotionally able to be alongside them,
mm,
and you drown into their problems as well, they are not going to feel emotionally safe, because they want somebody to be supportive and not drown with them. That doesn't mean that the therapist can't show emotions. There have been a lot of cases where, a therapist has cried in the session with the client, which is fair. It's completely fine. And I think it's something to be encouraged, because at the end of the day, you are a human and it's okay for you to show emotions as well. But don't carry it on to your bed. So I
mm,
believe that when you go to sleep, don't carry it onto your bed as well.
mm,
So that is one like boundary that you have to set, which seems difficult, but eventually
mm,
we do tend to get a hold of it. So that happens.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So, like you said, that therapists might even cry during the session if it's appropriate.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they should appear as a pillar of support and strength. That the client
Correct.
should not feel that मेरी problem थी इसको हो रहा है, how can they control me? So what do therapists do during that session?
So, most of the time what happens is when you cry with them, they feel
Mm,
heard.
mm,
They feel that you are able to understand the pain that they went through, because a
mm,
lot of times people tend to dismiss the pain, saying कुछ नहीं है होता रहता है and everything.
mhm,
To be feel heard, and obviously when you cry, you also have to pick yourself up
right.
in. And if you think, so again, I said it depends on client to client.
Mm,
If I know that my client is going to see my emotion, something which is going to be used against me, I wouldn't cry in a session.
mm,
So rapport building and getting to know the client is very essential to do what you are going
mm,
to do in a session, which is often overlooked, because my rapport with all my clients is not going to be the same. For
Right.
example, if I have a client who is emotionally distressed and is diagnosed with depression for that
Mm-hmm.
matter, I am not gonna say things that I'm gonna say to somebody who's not depressed. So to keep that understanding between clients is also very essential. So only the people who want to feel heard and are okay with you crying, you're only gonna cry with them. So which is I
Right.
said it's not gonna happen all the time. It happens only when you know it's the space for it to
Mm.
happen. So I
Right.
think that only comes with the rapport building bit of it.
Mm. So, what is the difference between sympathy and empathy, and why is sympathy regarded as a form of pity?
Okay, so like sympathy is something that you're feeling for them, and empathy is something that you be with them. So, for example,
Mm.
let's say that you have a friend who has just lost his job. So, being sympathetic, you're gonna say that I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Mm.
And let's say you are not in the space that where you have lost your job. So, to be empathetic is to say that I've never been through it, but I'm here to listen. I'm here to help you get like cope with it. I'm here for you to like I'm here for you to share things as well. And the major difference when you say the word pity happens is when so like sympathy is often seen like if not used properly, uh, it's often seen as something you versus me. It creates a distance.
Mm.
So we often say that I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you tends to be like seen in a way that I'm here, you are there, and I feel bad for you.
Mm.
Versus empathy is something that I don't know, I can't relate to something that you've gone through. I want to understand what you're feeling and I want to give you the space to open up. So if you have lost your job, I want to know how
Mhm.
you're feeling. I want to know how you're going to cope with it. I want to know what is next for you. So
Mm.
that is the difference. So sympathy, what happens is that distance is created and that often leads to pity. If somebody comes and says that, I'm so sorry that this happened with you. I'm also going to feel that, they're there and I'm here and they'll only feel sorry for me. They're not going to
Mm.
understand my emotions. So that is what happens. It's often seen as pity. So I think
Mm.
it's very important to be empathetic rather than sympathetic. That nobody needs sympathy. People
Mm.
do need empathy. People do need the space to open up, not just be seen. Like
Mm.
they want to share as well. So that is what happens. And
Right.
that's the difference, I think.
Wonderful. The last question I have for you is like you mentioned, you started your own practice. So, how can someone reach to you for your professional services, and what services do you provide?
So I provide individual, couple, and family therapy. All three of them are online, and you can reach out to me on my website that is www.thecareconnect.com. The Care Connect is with K, so
Okay.
KARE KONNECT. And we also have a phone number, so I'm going to drop it in the chat if that's not a problem.
Right. Right. I'll share it.
Yeah, so you can share that. I'll drop my
Right.
phone number also. You can reach out to me directly. Also, one more thing to mention is that very recently we have started a free discovery call where I offer a free 15-minute discovery call because
Mm-hmm.
a therapeutic relationship has to be from both ways. So this discovery call helps for the client to see if I'm the right fit as a therapist for them
Okay.
and for me to see if this is something that I'm able
Right.
to handle as well. Because even if I'm a therapist, there are some things that personally I don't handle. So if
Mm.
that's the case, I always refer them to somebody that I know of.
Mm.
And obviously, client's decision to, see if they
Right.
are comfortable with me as well. So I think that discovery call we have started very recently. If anybody wants, they can also book a discovery call again from our website or reach out on the same number.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. It was wonderful to have you on the platform with many insights that
Thank you.
hopefully everyone learned. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.